Hey guys, it's Elise. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new.
Hey, it's me.
I did just film this video, but I do film and then straight away start editing. But I thought I'd just put a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I suck at explaining things, especially books. I just can tell you how much I love a book, but explaining the plot and why I love the book, I can't do it. So just thought I'd put that in here because there is quite a few times where I don't explain very well. And today we're going to be filming in my lounge just because it has the best lighting at this time of day. I'm sorry if you guys can hear noises in the background. I'm not going to shut every single window in my house to make sure it's as quiet as possible. But today we're going to be filming my quarterly wrap up plus my April TBR. First book I read in 2024/finished because I started it last year was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. It's kind of like The Hunger Games but just with more stakes because they've all got powers except for the main character Payton, who is powerless, as the title kind of gives away. So yeah, like I think there's like 12 of them potentially. I might be wrong with the numbers, but they get selected into the games, which are like trials. Wait, no, they're called the trials. But anyway, they get selected and Payton is one of them because in this society, if you have no powers, you get killed or you get exiled, and basically if you get exiled, you're gonna die anyway. So she gets brought into these games, has no powers, so she's got to fake it. And yeah, I don't actually know how else to explain it, but it was really good. I really enjoyed every second of it. I love the like romance of it because I think it was like right at the very end where like they actually kind of got together, but then there was like a big plot twist. So you just gotta read the book. It was like any good thing you've heard about this book, believe it, and go and read it because I gave it 5 stars if you couldn't tell from me raving about it. It was so good. I enjoyed every second. The next book I tried to read but I didn't finish was The Brothers Hawthorne, which is the 4th book in the Inheritance Games universe. I DNF'd that because I couldn't get into it. I think I was on like a very big fantasy kick and I just couldn't get into anything that wasn't fantasy. So I really tried to read that, gave up. And then I read the entire Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. So I gave Once Upon a Broken Heart 4 stars, I believe. Basically it's just setting up the world, a bit of the plot, but yeah, it was really good though. Like it wasn't a book where I was like, oh, this is just like setting up the world. Like there was a lot more going on as well. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite in the trilogy, but it was still really good. It was, I don't even know what to say, but it follows Evangeline. She's in love with this guy, but he's marrying her stepsister. And so she goes to a church to like get help from one of the fates, whose name is Jax, and he basically can help you out if you've got any problems going on in your life, well, like love life, I guess. And so she I don't know, goes to this church to ask for Jax to help stop the wedding, and he does that but not in the way that Evangeline wants. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and it was really interesting. I don't know how to explain it without spoiling, and also don't know what I remember, if it was in this book or if it was in one of the other books. So I just don't want to spoil it because I read them back to back and I don't want to spoil it if it was in a later book and it wasn't, because they all just kind of blurred into one because I read them all back to back. So yeah, 4 stars for that one. Ballad of Never After was my favorite and I gave it 5 stars. And then A Curse for True Love, I think I gave 4 stars as well, but I think it would be more of like a 4.5 because it was better than Once Upon a Broken Heart but not as good as Ballad of Never After. So yeah, a lot more stuff happens in this. Oh, I read Shatter Me, which I don't have the physical copy of because it's my mum's book, so I don't have the physical copy of it, but I gave that one 3 stars because I could feel myself slipping into a slump. Oh, there was also a book I read before that. I read or tried to read King of Wrath by Anna Huang, but I DNF'd that. It's a soft DNF, I'll go back to it. All the books I've DNF'd I will try and go back to unless I've mentioned it in my DNFing video, which is my most viewed video, by the way. So thank you to everyone who viewed that and liked it, because I think it's my most liked video as well. But yeah, a soft DNF to King of Wrath, but I will go back to it. I read Caraval, which is the book I wanted to read instead of Shatter Me, but I couldn't find the book, so I read Shatter Me. But I gave this one 4 stars, I believe, but I only really wanted to read this because I loved Once Upon a Broken Heart. You could tell from me smashing out the series, I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to read the other series by her, which is her debut series. It's in the same universe as well, but I gave this one 4 stars. I think it's because I read the other trilogy first, and I think you don't have to read them. Like, you don't have to read this one first before you read that one, but if you want to read this one, I would probably recommend reading it first, purely because I think this one it's so much better. And if you're gonna want to read this one, you're probably gonna ruin it by reading this one, because you're gonna compare them the entire time, which is what I did. So I'm gonna still finish the series, but if you don't want to ruin this one and you want to enjoy this to the best of its ability, I think you should read this first. It follows Scarlett and Donatella, who are in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which is how they're connected. And they go to this event called Caraval, which is ran by Master Legend, and basically they get invited to it, and then they get to the island where it is being held, and then Donatella gets kidnapped as a part of the game. So Scarlett is going on this journey to try and find her sister, get her back so she can get back in time for her wedding, because she is engaged at the beginning of this book and is engaged through the entire thing. So yeah, she's basically racing against the clock, because by the time Caraval will end, she would have a day to get back to her island for the wedding, but it takes 2 days to get back, so she has to find her before the Caraval ends. So it's very interesting. I think you guys should read this first before Once Upon a Broken Heart, even though I didn't do that. But as I said, it does kind of ruin it because you are comparing it the entire time. Then I finished off March, kind of, by reading Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. This one I gave 4 stars, but I would probably up it to 5 stars because I just can't stop thinking about it. But I'm also currently reading Juniper Hill, which is the sequel, so that might be why. But this one follows Winslow and Griffin, and Winslow is the new chief of police in this small town called Quincy, and then Griffin is Griffin Eden, who the series follows all the siblings, the Eden siblings, but he runs the family ranch. And yeah, they have a one-night stand when Winslow moves to town, and then it starts being awkward because neither of them know that they're permanent residents in town, because obviously Winslow's just moved. Then it becomes awkward because neither of them knew that they're permanent residents or going to be permanent residents, so they thought they were having a one-night stand with a tourist, so they would never see them again, and then they see each other again, and it's a bit... Anyway, there's also a murder investigation, which made this so interesting because I love like murder mysteries with romance, and this was basically that, and it was just very enjoyable, so I probably will update it on Goodreads to a 5-star. As I just said, this is kind of on my TBR / what I've read so far this year. So Juniper Hill by Devney Perry. This one follows Knox and Memphis. Memphis is a single mother who's just moved to Quincy, and Knox is Griffin's younger brother. And he is also a chef at the family's hotel restaurant called the Eloise / Knuckles. Anyway, so basically Memphis has been hired by Knox's younger sister Eloise to be a housekeeper at the Eloise hotel, and she has nowhere to stay because all the apartments in her price range for being a single mother are non-existent. So Knox has a loft above his garage at his property, so Memphis moves in there, kind of creates a bit of a tiff between the two because Knox likes being on his own, but you know, sparks fly. So Yeah, anyway, that's what I'm currently reading at the moment. I will update you guys. I'm currently filming a weekly vlog. I'll probably finish this in that video, so if you want to know my rating, I'll update you guys on that. Moving on to what I want to read in April. Will I read all of these? Probably not. Do I want to? Absolutely, I want to get all of these books. So let's get into that one. So the first one we have is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which I read in September, I think. I read it back in September. It's in my trying to read 100 pages every day for a week video, if you want to go see that. Then I want to read Garnet Flats, which is the third in the Eden series. This one follows Talia and a male love interest called Foster, and I don't know the plot, and I don't want to know the plot because I like going into it blind. I don't want to read the back either, so we'll see how this one goes. And then we also have, I want to read Legendary by Stephanie Garber, which is the sequel to Caraval. And I don't want to read the back either because I don't want to spoil myself. Then I also want to read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the first in her Naturals series. And then the final book I want to read in April, which would be a reread, which would be also my first reread, is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. And it's because I got this cute special edition which has sprayed edges. I've been collecting special editions. I think I have 4 now, 3 or 4. I can't actually remember which ones I have. I really want to reread this because the series is coming out, I think, in July. So as long as I read this again before I watch the series, I don't care. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye.